I was in my abusive relationship for about 5 years. Things that I really liked about him in the beginning, he was such a gentleman. Like, he did sweet gestures. Like, when he would see me or we would see each other, he would come with flowers, a bouquet of flowers, and I thought that was just really sweet. His words was so motivating in the beginning. It was so touching, and he couldn't keep a job. So, and I was like, okay, I'm here for you. I was stupid, and I would, give him money all the time, and I was the motivator. Like, if he would go out and try to find a job or on an interview, it didn't work out, and he'll come home and he'll be lashing out, and I'm just like, he has anger problems, okay, but that can be fixed. So the very first time he put his hands on me, he came back from a job interview and it didn't go as planned in his favor, and he came home and he just lashed out. Like, he was just a totally different person. And in the bathroom, he had yoked me up. And he put his hands around me. He was just choking me. And with barely talking, I couldn't really speak at the time. And I'm just looking at him in his eyes like, this is me. I've helped you this far. We can fix whatever you're going through or whatever the issue was. The words barely what I was saying to him, don't do this. And eventually I was like, this is not you. And then he, put me down on the ground, and then he released. And I always reverted back to, I just felt like we was destined to be together. I'm like, he don't mean it. I can fix this man. I'm gonna give it some time, and maybe he'll change. And I'm thinking, I can change him. He would do times where he would have a moment where he'd get down on the ground and hug my waist and be like, I love you so much, and I didn't mean it. And it was just something that took over me. I'm gonna get better, and I believed him. So by this time, the abuse was just too out of hand, and I was to the point where I would run from him because I was scared. And by this time, he could lash out about anything. It was to the point where he was just getting insane. It was some arguing going on, and I was like, okay, I don't feel safe because something's gonna pop off today. I don't know what's gonna pop off, but knowing him, something's gonna pop off. So he was getting real crazy, and he was to the point where he was burning my birth certificate. Like, he was just racing. I felt like he was just erasing me. So I said, well, while he's going through that, I ain't telling where I went. I didn't tell him I was leaving. I just walked out the door. And the good thing was, where I moved, my mom lived up the road, so I could just go to her house. So I didn't tell him where I went, and he was just blowing up my phone the whole day. He was blowing up my phone the whole day, and I was ignoring him. So I think that pissed him off real bad. That pissed him off to the point where he was just circling Mount Holly to find where I was. So he went to my mom's house, and he seen that my car was there, and he was beating on my mom's door. Like, I'm scared. I'm just fidgeting. I was very small at the time, so I'm like, yeah, this man is crazy. I'm not ever going back with him because he's crazy. And my mom was like, yeah, my daughter's not going nowhere with you. And he was still beating on the door. He didn't budge. So it was getting to the point where he knocked out one of my mom's glass door. So that's when she stepped in and she opened the door, and he just pushed my mom right out the way. And I was in my room, and he dragged me out to my room, and he dragged me out the door, and he dragged me onto the car, and he was just beating me. I'm sorry. He was beating me so bad in the car, and it wasn't nothing my mom could do because he had skirted off. And at that point, I just feared for my life. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die today. Because he was just so angry, and I didn't understand why. And we on a highway. So I'm like, just pull over, because where we wreck and get somebody involved, they don't need to be involved. And so he came around in the car after he parked on the side, and he had yanked me out the car, and everything kind of went from a blur at the time, because it was to the point where, you know, a man, he's a man, and I'm small, and he beat me so bad, and he had stepped on my arm. My arm was turned this way, and he was just stomping on my arm, and I heard something snap, and I'm like, yeah, he broke my arm. So I just kind of like passed out from it, because I mean, it was so intense. It was just, I was in pain, and I think he realized what he did, and he drove me to the hospital, and he left me at the hospital. So I kept going back, because it didn't matter if I would go to my mom's house, some way he would get in, and he will drag me out. It didn't matter where I went. I couldn't go to a friend's house, and then that's how I lost half of my friends. I lost my best friend because they couldn't take it. I think it was more so I lost them because they couldn't help me, because I wouldn't leave. I thought more I just thought I could help him, and I thought, you know, he would change one day, but most of all, I was very terrified of him, because I couldn't get away. I couldn't escape. And I told my dad, I told him, I promised, I said, this is the last time. I just want to go hear what he has to say, or whatever. But I told my dad I'm going to go grab some things. But in my mind, I don't know. I just wanted to hear something different, or I just wanted to see if there was a change, or to something to put in my mind that, yeah, this is it, or hear a voice or something. So I went upstairs, and he was talking sweet, and we haven't made contact yet. We haven't came in contact yet. So as I'm walking through the door, and he's talking sweet, and he's like, oh, baby, I miss you so much. I have really changed. I was like, okay, and I'm listening. He's talking, and so he extended his arms out for me to give him a hug, and I'm a little iffy because I don't trust him. I'm like, okay. I'm like, maybe something's different. I was still a little standoffish while he was still extending his arms out, and I went close to him, but I didn't give him a hug. I went close to him, and while he's still smiling and talking sweet, he snatched me. He snatched me up. And I knew, I said, this is gonna be the last time. And when he snatched me up, he actually got me, he grabbed me, and he tumbled me to the ground, and he was fighting on me, and we was tussling. This time I actually fought back. So he was tussling on me because I was trying to get away from him, and somehow he put his arm around me. It wasn't a normal choke, it was a choke with the arm. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. I'm going to die. I'm going to die today, because I went back. I don't know why I went back. So I was struggling trying to get out of that, and I was kicking. I was doing anything I could to just get out of that headlock, I guess you can call that. And somehow I got out, and I made it to the door, but he was too fast. He caught me again, and he dragged me in the room and took the pillow and put it over my head, and I'm still fighting. I'm trying to get out, and somehow I got loose from that, and I was able to make it out the door. He was chasing after me, and he had grabbed me again. He grabbed me and snatched me up again, and this was to the point where he was saying, I'm gonna kill you, and I don't care. I will do time for it, and you're not ever getting loose from me again. And I just knew right then and there, as he was choking me, I knew. At that time, I said, yeah, God has punished me enough. He has spared my life long enough. It's time. So as he was choking me, I was just praying to the good Lord, like, Lord, I'm still young. Please don't do this to me. I would never go back. I was just praying for the dear life of me. Like, I don't want it to end this way. And I heard a voice, and he asked me, will you promise? And with everything in me, I promised I would never go back. So I don't know how I got unleashed from him. I don't know. To this day, it's like it was nothing but God. So I got unleashed from him, and all I know is I fast forward up to the road and just to get away from him. And he chased after me, but he stopped when my dad had snatched me up. I got in the back of the car, and all I could just say is thank you, God, because I just knew if I go back again, he was gonna kill me. And the voice that I heard, he spared my life again. So I just knew that was it. I could never go back, and I never went back. It's been about 3, 4, 5 years now. I don't know, it's been about 4 years, 5 years now that I've been from that relationship. But my anxiety, my body still goes through the traumatic stress that I went through during those years, so my anxiety is still the same. I wake up in the middle of the night and I need water, I need breath. It's horrible. My anxiety is horrible from that. Other than that, I learned so much from it. I know my self-worth. I would never, ever, ever go through that. I'm very strong-minded now. A man could never talk down on me even if he wanted to. I'm very confident. It took me some time to get out my low self-esteem, but I'm very happy now. So the women that's going through what I went through, I'm here. I would tell you. And for the women that's like, oh, they can't get out and it's hard for them to get out, I've been there. But what I would tell the ladies that are going through what I went through, even though you're going through this tunnel, there is light at the end. I can't make nobody get out of anything. What I can do is just motivate them, and I would just share my story with them, and there's more to life than getting beat on and getting talked to crazy from someone that doesn't love you. And even though they tell you they love you, ask them, well, why would love, if you love me so much, why would you want to see me hurt? Why would you want to take me through all that? Why would you want to go through all that? It's not worth it. It's so much more than life out there. So much. I'm thankful for life. I say life because I didn't know life when I was with him. I didn't know nothing. He sheared me from the world. So I lost so many people. So now that I'm out of that, life is so precious to me. From breathing air, to smelling flowers, to hanging out with my mom, my dad, friends, the guy I'm with now, life is precious. Because I was taking my life for granted, going through what I was going through, and so many times I could have been, dead and gone like my aunts and cousins. But the Lord spared me one more time. He spared me one more life, and I don't take it for granted. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm not 6 feet under, and I will never take it for granted.